there is one specific fear that is worse than all others. It's not the fear of the dark. It's not the fear of being followed. It's the moment you realize someone is already inside your home. Already there, already waiting. This is a true story from a woman who experienced exactly that, and she had no idea until it was almost too late. My name is Carrie. I'm 34 years old. I live alone in a house in rural Pennsylvania. I am not a paranoid person. I don't scare easily. I lived alone for 6 years and never once felt unsafe in my home. Until last March, it started with a smell. I came home from work one evening and noticed something was off the second I walked through the front door. It was faint, almost undetectable, but it was there. Something musky, something that didn't belong. I checked under the sink. I checked the trash. I checked the bathroom. Nothing. I told myself it was probably coming from outside. Maybe an animal under the porch. I made dinner, watched TV, went to bed. The next evening I came home, and the smell was stronger. This time it hit me the second I opened the door. I stood in the doorway for a moment before going inside. My eyes went to the kitchen, the living room, the hallway. Everything looked exactly the same as when I left. I walked through every single room again. Still nothing. I felt embarrassed, even though nobody was watching me. I made a mental note to call my landlord in the morning about the pipes, and I went about my evening. That night, I woke up at 2 a.m. There was no sound, no crash. I just opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling with this overwhelming feeling that something was wrong. Music CUE. Tension builds slightly. I lay there for a few minutes trying to talk myself back to sleep. And then I heard it. A slow, deliberate creak from down the hallway. I told myself it was the house settling. Old houses make noise. I knew that. But then it happened again, and again, each one slightly closer than the last. I reached under my mattress and grabbed the pepper spray I keep there. I sat up in bed and stared at my bedroom door, which was slightly open. The creaking stopped. Silence. Then, my bedroom door slowly pushed open. I pressed myself against the headboard, raised the pepper spray. A figure stepped through the doorway, and I screamed as loud as I have ever screamed in my life, and unleashed the entire canister directly into that person's face. The figure collapsed. A man's voice, howling in pain, clawing at his eyes on my bedroom floor. I ran, straight past him, straight down the hallway, straight out the front door. I didn't stop running until I was at my neighbor's house, pounding on their door at 2 in the morning. Music CUE, slight drop, eerie calm. The police arrived within minutes. They found a 47-year-old man in my bedroom. A man I had never seen before in my life, curled on the floor, still unable to open his eyes. And then the officer told me something that made my stomach drop. He had been living in my second bedroom, the one I used for storage, the one I barely ever went into. He had been there for at least 4 days. A sleeping bag tucked behind boxes, food wrappers, a water bottle. For days, the smell I noticed on that very first evening, that was him. To this day, Carrie doesn't know exactly how he got in. Police believed he slipped inside one afternoon when she left the door unlocked, just while running a quick errand, something she used to do all the time. She sold that house 4 months later. She said, "Some spaces stop feeling like home, and no amount of time fixes that." The scariest part of this story isn't the moment she woke up. It's the 2 days before that, where everything felt completely normal, where she went about her life, made dinner, watched TV, went to sleep, and someone was already there. Check your spaces tonight. Lock your doors. And if something in your home smells slightly off, don't ignore it.